And this is my third whitetail hunt, second hunt out of this stand. And the funny thing about that is, about 20 minutes ago, I heard a bull elk bugle about 200 yards away from me and some crashing in the bush to the north. So I actually think there's some elk that came through here and bedded down within a few hundred yards of me. So that's kind of funny. Of course, I took out my cow call, which I always carry with me, even in November. And I did a couple of cow chirps, but nothing happened. So I'm just going to leave that alone and hope that those elk won't mess up any potential bucks that want to come in to my rattling. It's 9 a.m. and I better get settled back in here because I just rattled and anything can happen. Back at the stand that we call the South Hub. It's basically on a poplar flat with the odd, and I mean odd, spruce tree peppered in, and I'm in one of those spruce trees. One thing I've noticed compared to my other two stands that I've sat at for my last couple sits is I've removed quite a few branches to get up into this tree and get a tree stand hung. So there's very little to no cover. So I'm really going to have to watch my movement. And if a deer comes in, I'm going to have to just be very, very, very careful to try and get drawn and get a shot, because I just don't have the backing cover here that I typically like in a spruce tree. I mean, that's kind of the whole point. I've got an east wind this morning, so it's blowing onto this side of my face and off to my left here. I think I'm up to 4 sits for whitetails. There goes a deer. heard crunching in the leaves to the north, and out walked 3 does. They meandered through the bush here, and they hit my scent trail down to my left-hand side. And they followed my scent trail right to the bottom of my tree, and they were alerted. And they were just circling my tree and smelling nonstop, trying to find me. Both the older does looked up in the tree multiple times, but I stayed still, and so they didn't bust me. But what they did do is they brought their scent in and all around my tree, which is awesome for this time of year. Okay. Well, I just rattled in a good buck. He come right into 25 yards. He come in downwind first. And I thought for sure he was going to smell me, but then he actually came around and circled around and come right down to 25 yards. I hit him. I think I hit him high. He carried the arrow with him. So I'm going to review the footage real quick and see what we're dealing with. Well, the unfortunate news is I did not recover that deer, as I'm sure you can tell from the replay footage. That was not a lethal shot, and I screwed it up. I made the mistake of not aiming low on that deer, even though I was pre-programmed for years and years to always be aiming for that lower third on a whitetail deer. And I think spending so much time hunting elk over the last few years, with elk, you're kind of like taking a straight line from the leg and then aiming basically for the middle of the chest cavity. That way you have the most margin for error. If you're aiming for the middle and you hit a little bit left, a little bit right, a little bit high or low, you're still going to, chances are, be in the vitals of that elk. Now, deer are a lot smaller, but not only that, so much of the time they react to the shot. They react to the bow going off, and then they can hear the arrow coming. And it is incredible how fast these deer move, how much they can drop in milliseconds. And you just got to keep that in mind, guys. I know better. I know to always be aiming on that lower third, and I didn't. I put my pin in the middle. This deer had me jacked up pretty good, and a 22-yard shot. I actually thought he was 25 yards, but still, he was 22 yards. That should be a chip shot. There should be no reason not to execute and harvest that deer. The good news is that deer is still roaming around. I got pictures of him a few days later. We got pictures of him all over the property, and then even in December, 2 kilometers away, I have more pictures of this deer. So he's roaming around, he's doing his thing, and I'm thankful for that. But until next time, guys, you got to remember, on whitetail deer, always be aiming for that lower third.